a major Alistar player and how he really pressures in team fights. So I would like to see it picked for him, or picked away.
Well, we'll see exactly what is going to happen as GT do start on our blue side as we hop into Champion Select. There's the Nidalee and Twisted Fate bans away from Swift and Dade, respectively. As the Gangplank has been removed from Gimgoon. I understand that respect ban because he's a very good Gangplank player, and the Karma taken away from Savoki, so attacking that champion pool that we already drew attention to.
Yeah, so already what we're seeing here are they're just taking away these target picks, right?
Yeah.
We're seeing a lot of priority picks, honestly, left on the table. The Nidalee, the Twisted Fate, these are picks that Newbee honestly are doing incredibly well with in terms of just, sure, maybe they haven't won the games with those Twisted Fate, but they always consistently got those leads. So now the early leads, the early pressure, maybe just not there.
Well, the Malzahar has been left up. Braum there as well. Alistar, like we were mentioning. Hecarim is up.
See,
as well as the Shen.
Again and again, it feels like Republic shies away from the
Malzahar first pick.
He's always been that type of player. I don't see Malzahar. I'm actually surprised he didn't just outright ban it. So now the question is, Dade, is he going to play it?
Republic had Malzahar up in their last series and then last picked Syndra.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly.
They for quite some time, they've just not been prioritizing the pick. I can understand it. They do kind of rely on Republic to really open up and get his other lanes ahead, play that LeBlanc, you know what I mean? But you really have to conform towards that meta at some point, especially when it's Malzahar.
Yeah. Well, looks like Newbee are going to go to something similar, but not the Malz.
That's fair.
The Alistar, like you were talking about, definitely in Moore's wheelhouse. And they're going to lock that one away. V on the Shen there towards the top side, denying that Shen Hecarim combo from GT.
My favorite. I really like this from Newbee. They got the Shen Hecarim. You got to really deny that. It's a really strong, powerful. It's like a really powerful pick. So, and on top of that, the Alistar taken for Moore. As I said earlier, it's a really strong pick for Moore. He's probably the best Alistar player I've seen in, I want to say, in LPL, but man, I feel like I'm already getting the glare from Mako. So
yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, I'm glaring on behalf of Mako at you right now. Mata also exists. If you remember,
the glaring representative.
But no, he's definitely strong on the champion. As there's Happy's Sivir picked away. Of course, he's played it 11 times so far in the LPL. Good denial in Republic on the Victor one more time. So clearly shying away from the mountain so damn fast.
Yeah,
but otherwise, not a lot of flexible mobility out of GT's roster, especially if they lock away this Trundle that Savoki's looking at. And Dade can basically do whatever he wants as well in that mid lane to pick against this Victor.
Yeah, and we've seen it a few times. You give Dade a counter pick, and he is more than willing to counter pick himself.
That's a very good point.
So I'm a little bit worried, but who knows? We might even see the dreaded Kassadin pick. We are going up against the Victor. He knows it. And if it's one player that is happy going up against the Victor, it's definitely going to be Dade.
And it certainly is. Of course, Dade playing a pretty incredible Victor himself.
I would be
in the most recent series.
I'd be surprised if he doesn't go Kassadin.
That's actually the Echo picked up for Gimgoon as well. And we have seen him floating around a little bit more, but not to such great effect.
Yeah, so of course, very susceptible to, just getting shoved in lane depending on the matchups. If it's an Irelia specifically, we've seen Echo blind picks, and then it just getting shut down by Irelia picks. So it's a bit risky, but of course, it really does help out your team later on in the game once you get it going.
I'd love to see Yasuo here. Think about it. There's so many options, but Malzahar just going to be locked in. Final pick for Dade. Talk about luxury, Raz.
Yeah, it's a bit boring, but you know what? If you have the Ashe, this says so much to game talent.
So much lockdown on this team.
Good lord, I don't understand game talents. They actually legitimately just gave them Shen, Ashe, Alistar, Malzahar, went all the way down to last pick. I don't understand.
You'd almost craft this draft for yourself without bans or picks for the opponent.
So,
like blind, this Newbee team comp looks disgusting.
Yeah, but it really comes down. We're going to have to really take a closer look at how Game Talents play against this. They definitely have, well, honestly, it's going to come down to Gimgoon. Gimgoon does have, it's not a positive matchup. He does get a little bit countered, but if he can get a shove going, maybe he can impact this mid lane. Maybe.
Well, we'll see whether he can. Of course, GT with a bit more damage in their lanes as well, especially the jungle, but we'll see whether they can make it work as the coaches shake hands. Let's get into game number 1 between GT and Newbee. Thank you very much, PentaQ. And here we are on to Summoner's Rift for game number 1 between Newbee and GT. First dragon going to be that Mountain Drake as teams make their way onto the Rift. And Raz looked like a bit of a nightmare draft for GT. We'll see whether they can get themselves in here. And do you feel like they have options? Of course, shoving lanes is definitely something that they do have.
Yeah, it feels really, it's difficult for Game Talents because they do have a lot of kite back, right? We talk a lot about how Game Talents love their kite back.
Yeah.
They got the Sivir, they got the Trundle, and they have Victor. So if they do get a lead, sure, they can pick their fights. But they're going up against a team that you can't pick a fight against Malzahar. You can't pick a fight against Ashe, Alistar. Those, once they get one person, that person's dead.
Oh, yeah. Extremely dead. Not to mention the follow-up CC, the fact that Swift can avoid any sort of counter-engage that you're going to make. And I'm thinking about this mid-jungle combo from Newbee. We've seen this before. Explosive Cask into Nether Grasp is one of the most disgusting things to see on the Rift because you can never escape that.
Yeah, and it really does just come down to execution at that point. It comes down to Newbee getting that pick and not messing it up, because if Game Talents do get a lead, then it could spell disaster for Newbee. That Game Talents, yeah, once they get that lead, they can pretty much, yeah, they can pick those fights. They can pretty much always look to disengage whenever the picks come off. And honestly, big pick is going to be Trundle. I do like Trundle into the Malzahar.
That's a good point.
Yeah, able to constantly get that passive off of him. So, if anything, there's that. It's a silver lining.
Yeah, and you can also knock him out of his ultimate if you do have that passive off by just smacking him with a pillar.
Yeah,
good news.
As we find ourselves into a lane swap,
yeah. So V going to be hanging in this lane for quite some time, actually, as Pentacu's throwing some ricochets at him. And Savoki going on in a bit of an adventure. Will find himself Swift. We'll see whether he can chomp down this buff. No, can't do it. His body slam comes in, level 2, hit by Swift. We'll have a barrel fairly soon, but Savoki's getting aggressive. The Grasp of the Undying doing work.
Yeah, last time we've seen Savoki with a Trundle going into that jungle, he got a kill or two.
You did.
So you got to watch out. Don't want to skirmish against that.
Top side of the map, however, we do have Newbee just pushing things out, happy and more. I'd just be heading into that turret. Of course, caught myself there. I was about to say more than happy, which just is very confusing given the names.
Don't worry. I've been throwing in a few accidental puns myself.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah, caught myself.
Try and avoid that.
Yeah, exactly.
As best we can. As V is going to teleport towards the top lane, as this lane swap is going to continue.
So I do like this lane swap for Newbee. They open up the map wide for themselves. So now, of course, the Alistar roam is possible. So now, you know, you got to watch out if you're Republic. You're already immobile. You're already in a position in which level 6 you can just get two-man by Malzahar and Gragas. Now you have to worry about the Alistar. And on top of that, of course, it's always good for an Ashe to open up the map for herself so she doesn't have to really worry about the lanes. She can just shove in and then constantly look to go mid.
As well as the fact that Republic hasn't taken Cleanse, which I honestly feel like is a bit of a mistake, given the fact that there is so much lockdown.
Yeah, I feel like
on the side of Newbee.
We have this discussion so much.
I know.
We constantly find ourselves in a position where it's like, you know what? You could have lived if you had Cleanse.
Yeah. We'll try not to delve into that too much, Raz, you know, if it does end up happening. But it does look worrying here for Republic. I mean, he'll be able to run really fast.
That's true.
But Nethergrasp keeps you there for quite some time. And you can see already Dade with his first back grabs himself some boots. Namtome there as well. It's Republic pushing things out. But Dade's going to be very happy here in this lane, just utilizing his Voidlings, getting those Malefic Visions across everything. No problems at all.
Yeah, that's the thing about the pick is that Miles will constantly be able to shove in. And this, of course, with the small nerf. So, yeah, so the nerf does mean that he's a little slower.
So 5 movement speed down
yeah.
and 50 range down on his auto attack.
Yeah. So early on it might hurt because early on where he can't exactly just clear waves with EW, kind of has to auto, you know, put in a few auto attacks in.
Yeah, that's true.
But that's about it. Doesn't really mean much as the game goes on, and it doesn't really mean much right now when Victor can't really take advantage of that.
You can see Dade with his shield running there as well, so not too worried about anything. Wushang going to make his way into the enemy jungle for a second. He's otherwise not going to find too much, and now looking for a potential gank here on the bottom side of the map. More in trouble, actually goes in as Pentacue does throw down the spell shield. Happy has to heal very early, but More is in trouble. Swift is going to turn up, and actually that is going to spell the retreat from GT. Good timing and positioning from Swift.
Yeah, great timing, positioning from Swift, but also great headbutt, or at least I mean pulverize from. Well, it was a great headbutt and pulverize. He headbutted to dodge the Hecarimee, but he also pulverized 3 people up in the air. He bought so much time for himself.
Yeah,
he allowed himself to get saved by Swift.
Nicely played by Moore, avoiding that potential first blood. There's the taunt on a Gimgoon. Nice empowered auto attacks there from V. Gimgoon actually not necessarily winning out this lane where we thought he might.
Yeah, so this should be a difficult lane for for Echo. How the matchup usually goes is just that Shen will force the trades, and Echo can't really get the proper passive 3 proc passive off, because if you look to dodge, if you use your W on Shen, pretty much you always win out in those trades. It never procs. It's the most annoying thing.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So Shen should be getting autos off. Here's the bigger worry is that so it looks like we're matching off this swap.
Yep.
This is really risky all around. This is why I love lane swaps, is because here Echo's in a poor position right now. Echo's in a position where he can get ganked. He has to worry. He has to have the wards down. But at the same time, Newbee's bottom lane is in a similar position. So it's really just a game of where's the enemy jungler? How can I react to it? Where's my team at this position? So really, first step, it's all eyes are on the jungle picks.
Oh, Wushang, of course, eyes are on him at the moment as he spots that pink ward. Immediately Dade roams around, and that Nethergrass also just has to be respected. Immediately Wushang got out of the way, and Swift was there, ready to give over a blue buff.
Yeah, and Swift didn't even show himself on that map. They still don't know where he is. Echo has to respect that positioning. So that was great from Swift. Didn't clear that ward himself. Had Malzahar do it. So now the value of the Fog of War here.
Yeah, just huge. Gimgoon grabbed himself a Null Magic Mantle just to try and survive this lane even further. He's not too far behind, but V now with the teleport advantage. And of course does have that Stand United now. So if GT try and make any more of those Hecarim plays, that could be a Shen delivery quite quickly, as V now looking to try and get around. Wushang just throws out the ultimate. It's a really good snare. V times it perfectly. No Chrono Shift to come in, and he doesn't even die. My God, this guy. That Shen play was beautiful, as Gimgoon, a lot of depression in those eyes.
Yeah, that Hecarim ulti went a little too wide. And of course, if you're a Shen, if you're diving a Shen, you have to really know you can kill him, because he can buy a lot of time for himself. We've seen it quite a bit of times with Shen. If you dive him, like, sure, you maybe if you have the numbers, you can get the kill. But the bigger point is his dodge mechanic, 2-second dodge, means that you're going to have to wait a little longer, right? And this early of the game, it means so much more. And, of course, the taunt on top of that.
And he just finishes Tiamat and a Spectre's Cowl on that back.
Oh, here we go.
That is insane. We've seen a lot of Titanic Hydra Shens, get that extra wave clear. But decides not to go for the Barmy Cinder route. Of course, wants the magic resist against Gimgoon's Echo.
See,
This is frightening.
This is what I love, because we talked about it. Shen can out-trade Echo. That's a proper matchup. So he's going in with a cow. So he doesn't take the damage. And with a Tiamat, so he's going to definitely win out in these trades. So with this longer lane for Gimgoon, this is not good for him. He has to get out of this, or at least he needs some jungle prep, because right now he can't walk up to the wave. He has to constantly look to Q.
Well, you can see Swift has started off this dragon. Does mean Wushang hanging around the area. Was pinged out by Newbee. But like you said before, it means that Gimgoon at the mercy of V at this point. Dade looking for Wushang. There's the double CC coming in at the same time. Delivered back with a barrel. Look at this. Bouncing castle Wushang was in, and Swift saved by V as well. Newbee nailed the pick.
Yeah, there we go. Even with the execution, they didn't really care about the timing, because it was like, hey, you know what? Sure, our CC kind of overlaps on each other, but we know we're getting this kill. So that's the power of these picks. That's the power of this comp, is that one person stays a little bit too long, they will kill you.
Damn right they will. And it almost doesn't matter about the layering of CC, because when, 50% of the buttons on this team are CC, it's almost like you don't even really need to worry. The execution was fantastic as well, as Gimgoon pops over the side. Dade caught out as he's trying to get out of position, but Gimgoon just ults himself. Republic picks up the aggro, and GT nail their pick. So nicely played.
Yeah. At the very beginning of the game, I said that it had to be on Gimgoon to look to make plays mid. Has to be that way. Now he's a little forced, because now he has to actually deal with the Shen. It's a bad matchup, and not only is it a bad matchup, but now Shen is itemizing specifically for that matchup. So he needs to start to impact in different ways. And so he's going to go back top, catch the wave. It's good from him that he got the play and is able to pretty much not follow that behind CS.
Yeah, thankfully for V, he was able to shove that wave fast enough. Got it to crash against that turret. So Gimgoon probably not going to be able to set up for too much of a freeze unless he can hold off the next minion wave. But Runic Echo's now done for Swift. Morel and Nomicon there as well for Dade. And a QSS so early for Republic. Second upgrade on the Hex Core, straight into that. Does not want to get caught out once again.
Yep. And the QSS, this is beautiful, because that's not going to work. There's too much CC right now.
Yeah.
Far too much. Maybe you'll flash away. Maybe that's the ticket, but you better watch yourself, because Malzahar ulti is up, Ashe ulti is up, everything is up except for the Shen ulti. And perhaps more is not level 6, but you know what? If it's not upgraded, technically, it's not
also,
even down.
that's not a form of CC, so that's totally fine. As
That's
Mora
true.
is actually looking for a pink ward here on the top side. So Voki saying, I'm an angry troll. You get out of the way. And he does have the subjugate, so that is a big deal. Could be a way to deal with V here at the same time, as just shields himself. We're going to clean up this minion wave, and will make sure Gimgoon is forever in this dangerous position near this turret.
Yeah, and so Gimgoon's still playing it well. He's always making it a battle of CS, building up a big enough wave that Shen cannot afford to pretty much look for those trades. So now that he is, now he's just pretty much smacking him.
Well, V just says, well, no, you're not going to out-trade me. You can definitely force me to farm instead of kill you.
He pretty much told Shen that this play was happening. If you throw down your W, you got to watch out. So they're definitely... Watch out. Don't...
Oh, Chaos Storm comes in. There's the flash taunt as Republic's in trouble. Has to flash out of the way. Very close. But V's going to get stunned by the gravity field, and Gimgoon is going to pick up the kill.
All right.
To V's credit, he played that as best as he could.
Yeah, he definitely played it well. I thought that Shen was going to get another kill off of that dive. Nope. It was the same
Now
spot,
the
though.
positioning, yeah.
Yeah, so that's good smart.
Gimgoon has to use his teleport to get back to the mid lane. Save that one as well, as Dade was shoving minion after minion into it. Whether they be created by him or the Nexus. We continue shoving this one out. Still behind in farm just a little bit. Republic doing very well in that regard. Now Pentacute shoving his wave forward. And this is something that Game Talents definitely do have. The ability to shove waves one after the other.
Mm-hmm. They can shove waves on the side, and of course Echo doesn't really have to worry about the matchup because of the lane swap, right? He's building up enough of a wave that every time he shoves the wave in, he just backs away. He backs away, and he's honestly doing really good, a solid job at just clearing out wards and allowing his team to help him out. get those dives off.
Yeah. Well, Republic takes a bit of damage from the Malefic Visions, but with the MR that he does have from the QSS, he's feeling a little bit better for it. And Happy now has this wave pushing back towards that turret. Savoki and PentaQ turn up. Happy does need to be careful, remember. No Thresh or a turret there to help him out.
This is interesting. Feels like Ashe is playing it a little slow, building up the wave a little bit. So Sivir needs to kind of watch out. Okay, they're doing a good enough job to catch that out. I think they know that Newbee is in. Just kidding.
Oh, Wushang is going to get silenced. Swift finds the body slam onto Republic as Wushang's going to get stunned up. Maybe a little bit of target mismanagement, and in goes V. He's able to pick up the horse. Swift in trouble, but dodges out of the way of the second tick of the Death Ray. And Republic uses his ghost, gets himself out, but that's a good pick from Newbee.
Timing means everything, and I guess Wushang didn't check or put that ward down fast enough. Wasn't there earlier enough. Because he didn't catch them walking into his jungle. Really, such a tight timing. That could have honestly been, that could have been nothing.
Yeah, it could have also been a setup from GT if they had managed to spot it out, but wasn't the case. Dade going to continue to farm. Republic taking a bit of damage. Dade, of course, with these Voidlings. More than happy to get the work done. And of course, that might be padding the Republic CS stat just a little bit. Is the amount of Voidlings being thrown into him.
A tad bit.
So there's the stun. B continues to try and clear underneath this turret, but slowly but surely, Gimgoon getting work done. We'll be able to take this one down relatively organically, and now has a Sheen. So some extra damage.
Yeah, and smart thing from Game Talents as well is that they actually bought 4 wards, and I mean 4 pinks, and they put them on the map. So now we have 2 pinks, pretty much meaning that bot lane is pretty much solidified. And Republic heading back top lane.
Well, Arrow immediately flies through Savoki. Is going to be able to point that one out as now really good pillar placement, and Happy needs one more auto attack. Arrow is going to find Gimgoon underneath that turret as Swift is here looking for Republic. Good gravity field, and there's the Chaos Storm as Swift is taking a lot of damage. Dade is going to move over. There's the body slam as Republic does manage to pick up the kill, but he's going to die for it. Dade grabs it with some Malefic Visions. Meanwhile, on the other side, this inner turret is in trouble as Newbee had to give it up.
But at the very least, more saved Happy. Happy was going to die, but able to get the headbutt Paul combo just as camera moved. So, more saved them. They didn't lose that much.
They did lose 2 turrets, though.
That's true.
So it's now 3-1 in favor of GT, and you can see that in the gold. 2,000 now in favor of them, and they've bought themselves some space looking for this dragon.
Yeah, so the vision control really coming back for Game Talents. Putting down their pinks. They have 2 pinks bottom side of the map. And now they definitely get this dragon for free. Another Earth Dragon as well.
Yeah, Earth Dragon is going to go down for the first one. Second one will be the same. As V will shove this wave towards the inner turret. We'll see whether the Shen can get around the map. Probably wants to go back and build his Spirit Visage. Republic going to answer this wave very quickly and quite easily.
Game Talents playing it as well as they could.
Yeah. But is this sort of what's supposed to happen in the early game? Are we expecting GT to be able to shove in and take control? Or is this a time where Newbee need to be shining?
I think that Newbee right now, they are looking for the damage, or at least the damage item specifically. Once they get the map a lot open, I do think that at the end of the day, you're going up against a team comp that can and will pick you apart. So for Victor should, as the game goes on, really doesn't matter. I do think that Victor will be in a very tight spot. He has QSS, that's fine, but it won't be enough.
Well, you can see Savoki spotted out. Swift is moving through. We'll find this pink ward. We're going to bop that one down. Maybe reclaiming some control over this map. Do grab themselves another turret. Now, PentaQ on the bottom side will clear up that minion wave. Republic clearing out minions effortlessly here in the mid lane, really saving any pressure that Dade is able to put down. Nullifying this matchup quite nicely, to be honest. But his tower still, remember from before, took a lot of damage. We'll see how things continue as Newbee locked down some Rift Scuttle vision. But there's no dragon there. They're all sort of trying to work out what they want to be doing, where they want to be on the map. As V holding this wave in a bit of a freeze. He does have his Stand United and his teleport, so he can do this.
Yeah, so looks like this wave is a massive one. But yeah, going back to it, the fact that they lost the first dragon, honestly, doesn't mean too much. I do think the next one, if Newbee doesn't mess up, they could definitely get positioned for the next one.
Well, this red buff looking to be aggressed on. In goes Dade. Gimgoon over to the side as Moore has the Stand United on top of him. Decent Pulverize comes in as there's Wushang's engagement, but immediately altered and the horse will die. Happy picks up one big explosive cast, knocks everyone away, and it's a double kill now for Happy. And GT all run away. This is what Newbee can do with all this CC.
Exactly. So Game Talents say, hey, you know what? We have this. We have the positioning. We're taking your red. You can't fight us. Newbee just looks at the presses tab, looks at the composition, say, yeah, actually we can. Yeah, we can fight you. So a lot of CC layering, a lot of pretty much great positioning for Happy, by the way. He was able to just whale them in the back line. He just really didn't need to do much.
Yeah. Wushang needs to think about grabbing a QSS for himself as well, because if that continues to happen, then that is a big problem. 0-3-0 now for the Hecarim, still without his Trinity Force. Wants to complete that, but that is still an investment. Wants that extra 1,200-ish gold.
Yeah, I'm not too sure if the QSS, like, primarily, yeah, the idea of QSS should help you out, right? QSS against this composition should be great and fine, but here's the thing. The gold that you pull into that, not going to be very helpful. You need, where I think that even then, the amount of CC that they could layer off, the fact that it's primarily the Alistar who's going to be starting off the play, they can, I think Newbee have so much, basically they have so many options of how they start their own fights. It doesn't have to be with a Malzahar. It doesn't have to be with the Ashe.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It can just really go towards the fact that Swift can go in, barrel you straight into his team, and then Alistar can honestly set up properly. The CC doesn't need to start, so they just need to be looking to play those fights properly, and it's hard to say where it should start.
We'll see whether they can get it going. As you can see, Happy now with his Infinity Edge as well as that Hurricane, so a lot of extra damage on every auto attack, and a far higher likelihood of that double slow coming out of the Frost Shot. Of course, with how Ashe interacts with crit, always extra damage, no matter what, just not quite as much as a regular crit. And that kite potential now a big deal. Wushang's damage reduction as well, if you manage to slow him down.
Yeah.
But Dade's got his Rylai's Crystal Scepter. I mean, the Malefic Visions will keep everyone stationary-ish. Swift looking for it. Nice flash from Republic, gets him out of the way, but Swift will trade those cooldowns any day of the week.
Any day of the week. So that's just what it is. The flash is quite honestly the most valuable part of him. Not the QSS, not the Ghost, the flash. So he lost it. Honestly, you can pretty much wait for the next cast cooldown, right?
Yeah.
It's already pretty much near halfway back. So what are you going to do once he tries to go for that play once again?
And he's also only at 20% CDR now as well. Going back to base, we'll see whether he can get towards his Spirit Visage, which is what he looks like purchasing. And then it might be Iceborne Gauntlet for the 40%. My goodness.
So right now, Newbee has all these lanes shoved, or at least they're going to. They specifically are just going to be shoving out the bot and the mid lane. They're going to have priority on this dragon.
Yeah, they've got it in a good position, and it's up in 9 seconds' time. Close to 23 minutes into this game. PentaQ picks himself up some Malefic Visions, but not doing too much damage to him so far, but you can see the slow could be something that Newbee have to deal with. But GT want to try and challenge for this dragon. Stade over to the side. They have control of the vision. Sweepers go down. Gimgoon's slowed. I mean, the Rylai's Crystal Scepter is just such a power spike for a Malzahar.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want. That positioning is definitely going to be on the side of Newbee. But Game Talent's definitely not just giving it to them for free.
They certainly aren't. Wave pushing towards the bottom side. Dade will help it as Gimgoon returns to the top lane, has his teleport, and Happy needs to try and defend this outer turret in the mid lane. They don't want to lose out on any more global gold. But given the fact that they did even up those turrets, the gold now back again in their favor.
Mm-hmm. And so now with the Titanic pretty much finishing up for the Shen. Shen's going to be a major threat. Not only is Ash going to be dealing the damage. No, it's Malzahar. But also Shen. So much single target damage coming out of him.
Not to mention wave clear.
Exactly. So the single target damage, the constant wave clear. So they're good. Newbee are going to be constantly playing that game of setting up for objective and then just stalling out for Shen to push up. And he's going to constantly he's going to be able to push up whenever he wants to. So Game Talents need to find a way to break up this tempo.
We'll see whether they can. Gimgoon's finished his Trinity Force actually on this Echo.
Okay.
So now that it has that extra 20%, no, extra 10% CDR than what it had prior, feeling a little bit better about it. The Iceborne Gauntlet, normally what you'd go for the extra CC, but just wants the damage, wants to be able to duel. We'll see whether it's going to be enough against the 1 and 2 Shen, who is right up there with his CS.
Yeah, they're going to need a little bit of cooldown going in and out of that fight if they're going to be able to take these fights because, yeah, definitely, if you go in straight for the outright engage, you could just get bursted down by Newbee's composition, so.
Yeah, especially if Happy can get some auto attacks on him. There is no armor yet for this Echo. You can see GT actually setting up for some vision around the Baron. Swift may have to body slam his way out here. Does have soul vision of the area, though. Wants to get a barrel in. Savoki going to help by chewing down some of these wards. Will be dangerous for this GT roster to go for a Baron.
Yeah, but Game Talents right now, even though they're using basically their lead and their positioning, Ash had to clean up that top wave, right? They're using that to get some vision, get some, a bit of a, make it a little bit scary for Newbee to poke their head in. But Newbee's smart. They just wait on Ash. And so now that they did, they're back into clearing up the vision once again, and now Game Talents pretty much answering to Newbee at every point.
And you can see Happy's positioning. You know that this guy's used to playing the Jhin. Played it 9 times so far. Knows that he's got to stand back. Don't get collapsed on by any Heckrams, any stray Echoes running around. And be that consistent damage from the backline because he's got so much peel if it comes down to it. And
yeah.
now looking for his Infinity Edge.
Yeah, and we've, or at least I have, been a very large... I've been criticizing Happy for quite some time, right?
Yeah.
This split. But if there's one major strength he has, it's his positioning in these team fights. Every single time you look towards him when these fights play out, he's always positioning himself to get the max amount of damage.
Oh, Swift, speaking of positioning, possibly out of it right now as he body slams through the pillar. And GT don't decide to go for anything. Pretty unsure of themselves by the look as they continue shoving out this wave. They look like they don't necessarily know what they want to achieve right now as Gimgoon dancing in and around, but V's auto attacks are really starting to hurt, especially with that empowerment after the Q.
Yeah, Gimgoon can't even stand in the wave when he's autoing. That's how much it hurts. And so, right now, Newbee can pretty much just sit there, do nothing. They don't have to. Every time Echo has to respond to Shen. And so if you force that position, then you pretty much say, okay, now let's start for the Baron, right? Now let's look to pressure something because when that... Oh,
whoa, there's the flash ulti as the arrow lays in perfectly. Moore grabs it with a headbutt, and PentaQ is just torn apart.
Yeah, I was about to say that, that was a good look because Gimgoon, maybe he looks towards the fight, and he's already half HP, but you know what? You can just flash ulti the Sivir.
Whoa, there's the flash double body slam as he gets the cast. Savoki knocked out of position as Happy, possibly off to the side somewhere he doesn't want to be, but it's a good body slam. Gimgoon not going to be able to get right in there, but a fantastic Chaos Storm forces the flash out of Happy, and Wushang now looking to get over the top. Dade's dead as Wushang finds Swift. Double kill comes in for Republic, and V now trying to go against the world. Picks up one with a flash. Massive shield comes in as he now has that W stopping the autos. And he has helped his team out a lot. Shadow Dash almost did it. In the end, it's a 2 for 3 in favor of GT, and they're looking at Baron.
Yeah, Game Talents, they knew exactly what they wanted to do. They kited back to a point where Republic just tore them apart. So you have to respect the damage coming out of Victor. You have to. And so now, I don't know if they can get a Baron.
No, I don't think they can.
This is a bit much.
Yeah, we're going to back away. Hawkshot flies through, and Happy says, yeah, that's right. You can't do the Baron.
Just scared them off with his Hawk. But yeah, just look at this fight. This was looking all right for for Newbee, right? But it came to a point where it looked like they expended all their cooldown. They walked in Republic flash ultis with Happy had to get out of that. And the moment you lose your damage like that, it's pretty much over.
Yeah, and Happy actually couldn't do anything after that point. V did well to survive for so long, had a lot of damage in this fight as well, but just wasn't enough. GT locked that one down, so nicely played. And once again, I mean, that was a GT team fight. They managed to disengage effectively and then get that re-engage, get that massive Victor damage, as you can see on your screen right there. Close to double the top damage on the side of Newbee, which was V. Quite impressive.
That's pretty impressive. But yeah, you cannot, it just comes down to the Game Talent's major strength in this comp. Something they should continue to look towards is that they have major sustained damage.
And AoE damage, yeah.
Exactly. So the fight goes on long enough, they can pretty much take it away. So you have to, if you are a Newbee, you have to focus down Republic. You have to focus down PentaQ. If you can't, then you back away. Take your wins, take your losses. Don't continue to fight that.
Well, PentaQ now has his QSS completed. Happy takes a boomerang to the head, which does a lot of damage. Triumphant Roar, not quite enough to give him that health back. Now Ocean Drake started here from GT. Hawkshot flies through. GT know that there's someone watching. And V now looking to go back, grab himself another item, and possibly get himself into this fight with the Stand United. Swift is going to be here to look for it, but the reset comes down and the Dragon still amongst this team fight. Savoki quite low. PentaQ off to the back, has the ultimate running, but it will wear out. Arrow lands onto Savoki as now Newbee look for it. It's a big taunt from V as he's right into the backline, and Dade in a good position. Happy over there as well. He's tanking up the Dragon as PentaQ takes down V. It is going to be more falling as well, and GT just winning out on the team fight and will now grab themselves this Dragon.
Savoki survived all of that. His ulti pretty much gave him so much HP back. It came to a point where, honestly, that was just a little bit too forced from Newbee. Once again, the Shen ult comes down. They don't look to fight. It comes back to the fight. Look at that pillar. That pillar is pretty much, I want to say, the player of the game, because at a moment, once again, Game Talent's looking to be too annoying to play against. Every time Newbee wants to look to engage, that pillar is always looking them in the face.
Yeah, and this is GT actually forcing Newbee to play their style. We were looking at this Newbee comp thinking this is looking so scary. But GT are playing GT League of Legends.
Yeah.
And Savoki is able to shred so much of the tankiness off V. That Subjugate is on the Shen, then he's butter.
Mm-hmm.
Very scary. Is Republic going to take down his blue buff? Now Wave pushing in on the top side of the map. You can see Happy racing to meet it. As Dade says, oh, I had my eye on that Wave, but no, he's going to head towards the mid lane now. Deal with that one himself. Of course, Newbee nowhere near outside of the woods just yet. Nor out of contention.
Yeah, and right now, Newbee needs to come back onto the map, devise a new plan at this point. Gimgoon is at a massive point. He can pretty much tank up a storm.
Yeah.
And so that's going to be Game Talent's major point, where they're just going to constantly look to out-tank the burst, outlive the CC.
But I mean, we've been seeing Sivir be very, very successful in recent times. He does very, very almost have the Infinity Edge complete. Only 1-1-1, but it is going to be something that they have to deal with on the side of Newbee. With the QSS quite safe, and there it is, Infinity Edge completed.
Yeah, he's been farming up incredibly well. 310 CS at 32 minutes into the game.
Yeah, very good.
So he knows his job. He knows what his goal is. We're at a position where you see double Trinity Force coming in from Hecarim and Echo. Both of them going to be creating a lot of space for the Sivir. And of course, we've seen Game Talents before with the Sivir. If they get to this point of the game, they get to maybe give them 10 more minutes, and they can take any fight, and it feels like it'd be a winning fight.
Yeah, well, B going to move out of the way of the parallel convergence. He gets the taunt on a Gimgoon as well. It does have to be very careful. The time winder flies through one more time, but the shield's there for V. And this 1v1 still looks to belong to the Shen. As you can see, the Voidlings all dying there in the mid lane as Dade exits the area. Newbee now setting themselves up. Baron gets aggroed. More just saying, can you not shoot it while I'm trying to clear vision?
I like this from Newbee. They know their one strength. It's going to be in Shen. Shen can still take that matchup as they are getting run at.
Yeah, Dade has to flash out of the way. The Chaos Storm actually goes down, so Newbee could possibly look at finding their way back in. Gimgoon already there as he's thinking about backing. V's going to take down the inner turret. Nicely done by Newbee as GT move towards the Baron pit.
Oh, here we go. We got a race.
Yeah, can Swift get in there for the steal is the real question here as Moore off to the side. Gimgoon looking to collapse, but can they kite back effectively? Unbreakable Will comes in. The arrow flies down at the same time as now Dade looking for more of this fight. Moore off to the side. That is not what he wants. Good barrel from Swift. Isolates Gimgoon, but in goes Wushang with the ultimate and takes down Dade. Swift now having to flash out of the way. V's there with the Stand United, but is it too late as they've already lost their mid laner? GT relatively low, and V is a threat, but 4 versus 5 now for GT.
Game Talents won that game of chicken. They pulled the Shen away from the lane, and primarily they were able to get these picks, and it's not done.
Yeah. V possibly caught out. Really good pillar is going to lock him up. It does have the flash. In goes the exhaust. Teleport's coming down. That's a massive pulverize from Moore, but he'll sacrifice himself in order to get that one down. Has bought some time here for Newbee, and Dade will be respawning fairly soon. About 12 seconds on that one. But will give GT probably enough time to take down this Baron, unless Swift can steal that away.
Picture perfect Game Talents. They are not going to leave this to a 50-50. They're going to get him.
Yeah, Swift is very tanky, but that's another Chaos Storm flying over the top. Happy looking to try and take down Wushang as he gets into the pit. Gimgoon getting kited, but look at this damage. And Republic locks down the kill. Wushang's going to die, but that is the Baron falling in favor of GT, and they'll definitely say worth it to that one.
A small sacrifice for a Baron. Game Talents playing their game. As you said, they are just incredibly annoying. Massive tank line. It is what it is. They have a massive tank line. They run at you. They outlast you while the Sivir, while the Victor in the back line just whittle you down. Just demolish you. So they want to answer the they want to kill Pentague. They want to kill Republic, but they can never get to them.
And I feel like it's just all of that CC we were talking about on the side of Newbee is just eaten up by Gimgoon and Wushang, who are doing so much damage with these Trinity Force builds. Deadman's Plate's there as well. I mean, this Echo's doing a bunch of work, and his job is to get on top of Happy and kill him.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like he's able to do that.
Yeah, he doesn't even want to focus the Shen lane. He knows that pretty much the only point that Newbee has to winning this is in isolating the Echo, just having Shen versus Echo. But they say, you know what, if you're going to do that, we'll just send up our entire 5-man unit to this Baron, and we'll play that game. They played it, and they played it well. They got themselves a Baron. They got themselves a couple fights.
We have seen this before out of GT, though. One thing that they do really like to do is pick up Baron and use it to pick up an Elder Drake, which has just spawned.
There we go.
They are going to do exactly that, but not using it to shove out waves.
Yeah, so this is their one biggest weakness, I would say, is that they're using their Baron for the Elder Dragon. Now, they're burning it quite a bit. They're taking the fight, though. That's what I want.
Looking for the re-engage. Happy immediately gets deleted by Wushang, and Moore at the mercy of the gravity field. Republic grabs that one as the Dragon resets, but not enough. And GT are able to lock that one down. Bottom lane dead on the side of Newbee. Nothing they can do as GT now bear down on their base.
Yeah, my worry has always been, A, the effectiveness of the Elder Dragon, but B, just how, if you can tank it, because it does do a lot of damage. But if you're Game Talents and you have such a tanky lineup that can just honestly take the brunt of it, then go for it. You can take the fight along with it. Newbee have to answer to you.
Well, there's the shield down onto Dade. 3 members not going to defend this inhibitor turret at all. Just back away immediately, and the inhibitor is going to follow. Gimgoon getting work done on the other side of the map. Is this inhibitor now exposed, and GT move all the way over to it. Inhib does fall in the mid lane, and now Newbee do have more back available. Happy's going to be up relatively soon.
You need to go in.
Yeah, but the damage has now been done. Pillar comes out for the disengage, and Wushang just leading them off to the side. In goes Dade, throws down the ultimate as there's the pulverize. Wushang is going to be the sacrificial lamb, but the base is now in tatters of Newbee.
Yeah, that's a small prize for basically losing your entire base.
Yeah.
So they do get Wushang. They do deny the top wave, as we see. It's not going to mean much.
No, this is not a good news story. 7,000 gold now, the lead for Game Talents. And for what looked like an incredible composition out of Newbee, honestly, as far as getting picks in the early game was concerned, I just feel like they didn't get enough. And GT now just do so much damage with their whole composition. I mean, look at this Victor. Death Cap done. Perfect Hex Core, Void Staff, and the Rylai's Crystal Scepter for the extra health, and a cheeky QSS. He's done.
Yeah. If they got their lead, they would be able to push it. The issue is that, you're right, Newbee did not pressure their composition. They had the constant shove in the mid lane, but they never really used it as much as they should have.
Well, now Gimgoon possibly to be caught out as Swift finds a body slam. In goes the ultimate onto V as he's going to be delivered to Swift, but off to the side they have to be careful. Big arrow flies through, no QSS to be used as now Gimgoon struggling against V and Swift. Shadow Dash comes in, Wushang makes his way around the side, and he's actually going for Swift here. As V is able to kite this one out, but Newbee not happy to go in for any sort of engagement.
Yeah, Echo can do whatever he wants. Honestly, he just went into far people. He can, and theoretically anyone would have just been bursted down, but he is so tanky, and he has his ult to boot. He can tank the world at this point.
Oh yeah. Now GT without a Baron buff anymore. Sieging towards the top side. Savoki, another pillar, just spots out the members of Newbee. Try and work out where they're going to be. Shen now moving towards the bottom side of the map. With his Stand United off cooldown, does still have his teleport.
Yep, with 2 waves coming in, or at least 2 lanes. 2 super creeps coming in. Newbee have to fight. They can't let this keep up.
Well, this tower is very low, but there's the flash body slam. Savoki gets knocked up as Mora's going to get rid of Republic from the fight. Dade blocks up Savoki, and Happy's able to pick up the kill. But look at this AoE damage coming out of Republic. Massive work done. The tower is still up, helping them out as they take it eventually. And V does have a GA, but he's down so low, and Happy has to deal with Republic. The arrow comes out again, as Happy will be able to lock down that kill, but 3 inhibitors now dead for Newbee, and the gravity field is able to lock them up so they can't follow anything through.
Yeah, Game Town could have ended that, but Republic went in a little bit too far. But this game seems really hard at this point. 3 super, like, pretty much waves coming into these. Like, after losing 3 inhibs, that's a bit much.
And only 1 Nexus turret now available as well.
Exactly.
This game's all of a sudden extraordinarily hard.
Yeah, but hey, Newbee has a bit of a fresh memory about this one. Going up against EDG, taking 3
But they were in the other position.
Ah, yes.
This is the dangerous part.
And they're going up against a team fight composition. So now this time they're going up against a really strong team fight composition, and they lost 3 inhibs. It's kind of like they can't win.
Yeah, well, when it's 5v5, that's hard enough. But then it's 5v5 plus a plethora of minions. That's when it becomes extraordinarily hard. But they have been able to push out some of these waves. Of course, Dade, his Malefic Vision, is able to get some work done here. As Swift and Moore moving around their jungle, trying to sweep out Vision. Baron up in another 26 seconds, and you have to feel that GT will be able to just take this one for free. There's a cheeky ward in that pit. Moore now thinking about setting himself up, but Savoki just has the pillar and never has to face check.
Yeah. And so, honestly, a bunch of perfectionists. They just go in straight for that pink ward. So, Newbee respond with double pinks. And sure, Baron's coming up, but they don't even have to do anything. They can just sit there, not even autoing Baron, because with 3 inhibs down, just an army of super waves.
There's on the hunt, actually, as GT want this fight. Gimgoon finds the flank onto Dade as the ultimate does come out of V. He's locked down Wushang, who will die first up here. Happy takes down Moore. As Swift right in the back line, but he's not going to last long. Wushang, of course, survived somehow. Not even entirely sure how it even happened, but eventually Savoki does fall down. It's a 1 for 2 so far, but Newbee now on the run. There's a parallel convergence as Happy slowed down. Gimgoon has to be careful as the Ashe is doing a lot of damage. Gets out the ultimate of the Echo. And look at this, Super Creeps now crashing onto the Nexus turrets. You can see the Nexus now is open, and Newbee desperate to try and get back here and save it. Can they even do so as Dade's desperately trying to grab the aggro? Half the health now on this Nexus. As Happy's actually looking to try and steal the Baron? Not entirely sure. Hawkshot flies through, spots that it's relatively low. Can he get it with the splash? No, he can't. He's looking for the volley steal. And he is going to flash himself out of the way and then die.
Okay, well, I'm going to tell you one thing, one secret. Malzahar cannot deal with super minions. Impossible. So, well, it looks like this game's pretty much over.
Yeah, Gimgoon just going to look for this Nexus as well, as he's got his GA. He's got a heck of a lot of health, and he's got a Trinity Force. That's a lot of damage as GT pile on to Newbee's base and will take down this Nexus for game 1. We had some doubts about the composition that they let Newbee have, but they have been silenced now.
Yeah, so the question was always, does GT play their game, or does GT kind of go towards the meta, towards that Ashe pick comp, towards the Malzahar? And it seems like they made their decision.
They most certainly did, and it seems like playing to their strengths is exactly what they wanted to do. Savoki looking fantastic once again on his Trundle pick. The Pillar's always in the great positions, always able to subjugate the right targets, understands when to use it for a pick and when to use it for a tank shred.
Yeah.
Just beautiful play out of this team, and the early game looked dangerous. Newbee's comp was working, then GT turned it all around with all that late game damage.
And look at that. This is where it really started. Like, once Republic gets that
the flash
amazing
chaos
ulti,
storm,
right? Newbee, they step too far forward. They walk in too much. The moment they didn't get their pick and they decided to stay in for the rest of the show, and they just get cleaned up.
Yeah, and we normally think that, you know, letting through the Malzahar is a very dangerous thing, and it is. But GT just seem to have the answers. They seem to have the ability to create space for whoever was picked off.
Yeah, and just look at Savoki through this entire time. He ultis to keep alive. He's just pretty much the one pick that Newbee invested on to get him, just at least eliminate him from the fight, and he survives.
And couldn't do anything after that, could Newbee? As look at that pillar placement.
Yeah.
Happy couldn't go anywhere. Moore was then trapped in the gravity field that was so easy to place from Republic. And that spelt the Elder Dragon, honestly, 2 inhibitors, basically the game at that point. Newbee had a decent try here as Dade was able to get to safety, but they couldn't even get Wushang.
Yeah, exactly. And so this just really, the moment Game Talent's got their lead, their strength, you know what they do best at? They go straight towards the objectives.
Yeah.
They're objective driven, and on top of that, they just pretty much went straight for every pink ward. They cleared up. They got the fights that they wanted, and they just played their games. They won.
Yeah, they most certainly did. Turned it around, made sure that they were playing their League of Legends. But, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to go to a short break. When we get back, we'll see whether Newbee can fight back against GT.